Hi, Rick. Welcome back to Movie Junk. How are you?
Hey, doing great, Zia. Thank you so much for having me again. I love this show, man. I love it. Why
Thank
is
you, brother.
this?
Thank you, brother. We love it. And if
uh,
I'm not mistaken, I mean, this is the fourth time that we've had you on the show. So we're
That's it.
officially moving you from featured guest to show regular.
That'll be great, man. Hey, I can co-host with you when you get some of our friends from Sopranos back on there, or maybe Tulsa King. You never know if Chris Caldovino gets back on here. I got plenty to ask.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, we definitely need to do that. And I mean, Rick, this past year has been extremely exciting. I
Yeah.
mean, for you and also the fans, seeing you in the epic finale of Ozark. We saw you in A Christmas Prayer, Outer Banks, 50 Cent's BMF, which is currently airing season 2 on Stars. Got so much
Yes.
to talk about today.
Oh, dude, tons to unpack here. You start.
Well,
I'm excited to share.
kicking off with Ozark. I mean, this was
Mhm.
technically the second time for you on the show, but you're playing a different character, and now we see you in
Yeah.
the finale episode, the epic scene with Navarro. I mean, what was it like coming back to the show and also, being there in such a big way?
Well, I tell you, I was just blown away to see how that, again, when you audition for these roles, you don't know, you only see through a keyhole, right? So I had no idea how it would eventually play out. And again, Jason Bateman was just fantastic. He was the first person to ever hire me. He hired me as a background extra when I first started, almost 5 years now in the business as a cartel extra in season 2, episode 1. And for me to help him land the plane, if you will, in the finale, it was just, dude, it was a dream come true. It really was for him to trust me with that role.
Yeah, I was going to say it's sort of come full circle, right? You're able to be in
Yeah.
the kickoff episode and also in the finale as well. And I know for me,
Hmm.
when I watched that specific scene, just kind of getting a little bit of Godfather vibes, right, where like the character thinks he's doing one thing and then ends
Yeah.
up getting whacked. It was
Hmm.
very, very epic as well too. I mean, what was sort of the kind of the genesis of like your prep, or kind of how did you go into prepping for that scene?
Well, that was a good question. Again, when I auditioned for it, I took a chance. I did it in English and Spanish, and Jason, he loved it. He shared with me, Rick. It might have gone another way, and he shared that I think originally was slated to be written that it will go fade to black, so nobody really knows what happened. Almost like what happens to Tony Soprano at the end of Sopranos, right? So
Yeah.
I don't think that would have been a very good way to end it with the fans. So he wrote it in this way because I did the audition in both languages. It's so cool because it's up to the viewer's interpretation. I mean, Navarro had Nelson, right? So a lot of folks have been approaching me saying, "Hey, did Camilla have you, Silva, as her version of Nelson?" Because if you think about it, I've been told, you see the scene. I'm going in there as just an English-speaking officer transporting a prisoner, and all of a sudden, when I throw that Spanish in, it's like, wait a minute, is he part of the cartel? Was he
Yeah.
paid off? What is it? So that really took people back. It took me back too when I finally read the whole final draft of that scene, and I was like, wow, what an opportunity! And I hope I brought it well.
No, I mean it was amazing. I mean the performance was awesome. For
Thank
a
you.
split second, I was like, maybe this guy's gonna finally get a break because he was just going through hell, in prison. I was like,
Yeah.
maybe he's gonna get a break. And there's also that part where he kind of lets out like a sigh of relief, like a quick smile. But it was just a
Hmm.
second, I mean, then all of a sudden, here's the gun sort of cocking, and he's like, shoot, he
Yeah.
feels he already probably knew the weight of the gun. He probably knew it was
Uh,
empty, so that's why
yeah.
when he lifted up, he knew it was just BS. He knew it was just a matter of time
Hmm.
before he was about to get killed. But no, that was awesome. And the show
Thank you.
came down to just an epic ending. And do you think there's any, because you're also, even though you're in the show, you're also a fan of the show. Is there
Hmm.
any chance of maybe some sort of a revival, maybe a limited series down the road, or even a prequel? Or do you think we hit the end of Ozark?
Well, when you think about movies in general, when you see things that you say, well, they kind of close looped it pretty well, and then they come
Yeah.
back based on they want to do things for the fans. And I mean, I'd say if it were me, I'd say there would be a very good chance of it coming back to some degree, maybe some character development, or maybe some flashbacks, or maybe a prequel. You never know. But I'd say it's highly possible. Not that I know
Hmm.
personally offhand, but based on vibes, it's very possible that it could come back for sure. And Felix Solis, I mean, he was what a consummate actor, man. To work with him and in that close proximity, he gave me some great tips. And again, we vibed and we just let our emotions kind of take hold of that situation. It was so gut wrenching to some degree. To your point, when he's looking up and he's like, I got a breath of fresh air. I'm going to get out of this, and then boom.
Yeah.
So I mean, Felix is just fantastic, and I really want to thank him for allowing me to play with the scene. We played with that small space that we're in right there, so it was really cool. Great
Yeah.
experience.
No, it was epic, and jumping into another awesome show, which is BMF on Stars. 50 Cent's
Yeah.
project. I mean, this guy's taken over Stars, right? I mean, 50
Oh
Cent's
man.
just coming out with project after project. He's kind of like the Taylor Sheridan, for Paramount,
Yes. Oh, I
right?
love it. I love him. He's awesome. What a great writer.
So, I mean, that's amazing. I mean, again, love to hear, first of all, how you landed the part. What's it like working on this show on Stars? Did you get a chance to maybe audition with 50 Cent, or kind of what's the journey been like so far?
Well, that I can't really get. Well, here's where it's at. When I auditioned for it, it was very burning the midnight lamp oil, if you will. I mean, it was something that was last minute, and it turned out to be, I feel, one of the biggest shows I'm going to be on to date. Once it's all said and done, I can't really get into it too much because remember he coined Fridays BMF Fridays, so it's not like you could binge watch them all. So I can't really talk about how my character gets in or how that worked out.
Yeah.
Your viewers will have to see. However, go to IMDb. You may get some hints in there back and forth. I saw that. So you see the episodes and what have you. But in terms of how that process took place, it was very last minute. And sometimes those things, really turn out the best benefits from it. I mean, I've gotten some last minute auditions that have really turned around for me. And that's one of them. That's going to be a definite game changer for me once I'm involved with the project here. Once you see it, and then maybe beyond. Because BMF, if you saw recently, I saw a Deadline 50 was at the premiere, and he said that he's looking at creating multiple spin-offs from this. I think he coined it BMF Immortals. So we'll see what happens, but I'm in for the duration here, and we'll see what happens. Great.
Well, I want to save it then again, because that's my excuse to get you to come back once we get more of the shows to kind of
Oh man.
roll, and then see. Yeah, definitely we'll touch more on BMF, but
Yes.
just yesterday we had the epic finale of Tulsa King, and this is why I also love
Oh
having you on
man.
the show too, because we have a similar kind of fan set and kind of watch the same shows, and I know you've been on
Hmm.
the Tulsa King journey as well. Featuring Stallone. Got a lot of the
Hmm.
cast from Sopranos and Boardwalk Empire. This is the marriage of both, Sopranos and also Yellowstone, right, with Taylor Sheridan and Terrence Winter. Before we get
Hmm.
into the finale, initially, right, because I'm sure you were also, hearing mumbles of this new show that was coming out. Stallone's going to be playing the mob role. What were your expectations before you watched the show, and where are they now once we've got the finale
Oh,
completed?
that is perfect, man. When I first, it's almost like it's so funny. I go back to saying Sopranos. When I heard about Sopranos, I was used to Goodfellas, Casino. You're used to that genre, and like Sopranos. My sister and brother-in-law had told me about it, and I was hooked so bad into it. So I kind of, when I first heard about Tulsa King, I was like, okay, so they're bringing some of the boys back from Sopranos Empire, Stallone, the King. I'm like, let me give it a shot. Man, was I hooked. I was so happy that they signed on for a second season, and to see Chris and some of the guys there back on there, man, this is a fantastic show. And again, talking about the finale, man, I was like, I couldn't believe it. My jaw dropped at the end there. What a
Oh
crazy
yeah.
turn there.
Yeah, and we had you guest appear on one of our episodes where we were featuring Chris Caldovino, who
Hmm.
plays the consigliere on this show. Fans know him as Tonino in
Hmm.
Boardwalk Empire, and he was also my brother Billy in Sopranos.
Hmm.
So as a Sopranos fan, I mean, seeing him on this show, I mean, that was a joy, and he has such a wonderful part, right? And I mean, the show is aired. I don't want to go into too many spoilers. I don't want to be selfish for the fans that haven't seen it, but you'll absolutely love sort of what happens to his character at the end.
Hmm.
But as far as seeing him, in this role, I mean, obviously as a Sopranos fan, it's just been a pure delight.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, his character Goody is fantastic, and I love that they gave him such a nice, thicker role in this whole series. And I was shocked because Vincent Piazza, who had played Lucky Luciano from Empire Boardwalk, it's interesting how, well, again, not to give too much away, but I can see how the roles are shifted in these two series back to back to say, well, now Chris has a little more of a thicker role. You know, he's got more presence in there. I'm happy for him, really, really happy for him. He's a great actor. And I can't wait to see what happens in season two, man. That's going to be incredible.
Yeah, what I've sort of told just different fans of the show that I've interacted with, or people that were just starting to get into the show, is
Yeah.
that don't think of this as Sopranos. It's kind of like Get Shorty meets
Hmm.
Sopranos, right?
Hmm.
So it's different because again, we if you want something like that, just go rewatch Sopranos. You already got it.
Right.
It's the best version of it. And you always want to see a different take. Like if you're a fan of the mob genre, a different take on it, right? Go see a
Hmm.
period piece like Boardwalk Empire. So this was great, right? We're in Oklahoma. Like, what the hell is going on in Oklahoma? And you
I mean,
see all the different, adventures and mischief that can take place. What
mhm.
did you think of Dominic's performance as the boss
Oh,
and sort
dude.
of that
Dude,
run?
he is just phenomenal. I mean, I'm so happy to see him on the show. Um, they did a great job with his hair. And I sent him a message too, because I was like, dude, that is some great hair piece there, man. It's fantastic. It made it look so natural, but he's such a badass, man. I mean, really, I love that all these folks, they really, casting did such a good job with it to just make it, and everybody's gelling so well, and they created such a great foundation moving forward. I can see this going several seasons
Yeah.
flawlessly, because this is going to definitely be one for the books for sure.
Yeah, where do you think season two can go from here, right? I mean, I would personally like to see more of the mob from like the surrounding areas, like Vegas, maybe getting word of like what's going on in Oklahoma, or
Right.
I'm sure there's other parts, like in Texas, there's probably some mob influence. But where would you like to see season two kind of jump into?
I'd like to see something kind of ramp up for like a bit of an all-scale war there, because obviously Dwight the General, he's got his folks, but you could see he has an eclectic group. He has some of the Native Americans, he has African American, he has a little of everybody in his, it's a melting pot with his crew. And I just love to see him go after the old school mob guys, like you had mentioned,
Yeah.
all through different parts of the country, and see how that culminates at the end. So there's definitely a lot of meat on the bone. There's tons of possible plot lines and what have you. And you know, then the fans got to kind of say, well, which side do I take? Do I want to see the mob? Do you want to see Dwight? Be victorious in this? And there's always going to be people that fall. Unfortunately, that's just the way these
Yeah.
shows are, right? Some of your favorite characters, but it's part of cinema. It's what
Yeah.
what we
Yeah, and
expect.
that's and just like what you mentioned, I love being able to see all the different folks that the general has brought in. Right, you got the Indians, you got different type of the biker gangs that are in there as well too. So I personally like just kind of seeing what goes in to some of like the casino type of stuff with the Native
Hmm.
Americans. There's also some criminal elements in that, and there's also some fun stuff that you can see with that, kind of like what we see in Yellowstone as well
Oh
too.
yeah,
So I'm excited to see. I loved seeing that marriage, and I know there's just going to be more adventures that are going to come in season two. And Max Casella, who plays
ah,
Armand, who
awesome,
we actually just
awesome.
interviewed, Stephanie Kurzuba, who plays his
Mm.
wife on the show. Do you
Okay,
remember her
I
from The
saw
Wolf
that.
of Wall
Yes.
Street
Oh, I
too?
was like, wait a minute, with the blonde hair, there she is, and I remembered her. Yes, she was
It's,
phenomenal.
I told her, I said, you've become the mob wife now. You know that, right? You're becoming the
She
mob
did.
wife.
Yeah.
And because she's also in Blue Bloods. I mean, she does a ton of stuff. But I was
Hmm.
like, you become the mob wife. I was like, how have you embraced that? And she did an amazing part. But just again, I'm trying to not get into too many spoilers. But that scene that Max Casella has with Stallone, where they're sitting down, kind of sharing that story with
Yeah.
him, he's just doing an amazing job. And I don't know, I'm starting to kind of get Tony and Christopher vibes a little bit,
Hmm.
whether it's
Hmm.
between them two. But yeah, I mean, he's just doing an amazing job.
Oh yeah, and again, going from the pilot, moving on to these other episodes, they have fleshed this out so brilliantly. And I mean, who's to say where it can turn? Because again, I got caught for I got hit in the stomach there towards the end. Again, I'm not gonna spoil it, but I'm like, wow, just wow.
What did you think of the speech that Stallone gave in the bar to the crew?
You
Did
and me
you
think alike, dude.
did you get Rocky vibes a little bit?
Yeah, dude. I was saying it to my wife yesterday when we were watching. I was like, that's the monologue when he's talking to his son in Rocky. That's the monologue. But again,
Rocky Six.
Rocky Six when he's talking to his son. Yeah, and it's like that. But he's so powerful when he delivers. It's like it doesn't matter if it sounds like it. You're just like I'm just staring at the screen like wow. And that's why obviously at the end there, people clap. I mean, it's just he's so good. He's such a master at delivering these poignant monologues. So hats
Also,
off to Sly for sure.
yeah, man, he's just consistently reinventing the wheel.
Yeah.
Obviously in every project that he's doing. Also, too, I mean, just kind of jumping back to that scene with the package when he went in
Mm-hmm.
and kind of beat him up and stepped on him, and he's starting to yell, my daughter. I mean, did you get the
Mm-hmm.
Sopranos vibes there when Tony went and crushed the guy's teeth at the restaurant?
Yes, that was very, very reminiscent of that. And there are a lot of homages, if you will, to Sopranos I've seen. But again, they're done well in good taste. So
Yeah,
and again, being delivered by Stallone himself. I mean, it kind of reinvents it, retools it, but in such a, like I said, a tasteful way, and it's done
yeah.
well. I mean, it keeps you at the edge of your seat. It really does. And it's so cheeky
No,
too. It reminds me a little of Cobra Kai too, because you have your serious moments and you have a little fun moments, some levity in between there to
yeah.
kind of break the tension.
Yeah, I mean, I just had I just got a relative kicked off with Tulsa King. We watched 3 episodes yesterday because he's been hearing all the hype around it. And
Oh yeah,
that first episode, I mean, I was by myself when I first started watching it. There's so many laughs, like the laugh, like especially when he's coming out of the airport and that whatever that was, like a grasshopper that landed on his chest, and the lady that sprayed
yes.
holy water on him, right?
Oh
So there's so many laughs on this show.
yeah, in the very beginning, yeah, that kind of threw me back to again Cobra Kai a little bit. How they don't make it too heavy the whole time you're watching it. They have a little, hey, what's this, kind of thing, and then she throws a holy water to your point. That was so funny, man. What a fun scene. And you could
He
see
can't.
Stallone is really having fun with it too. He's laughing. And you can see it's
Oh
not,
yeah.
he's having fun with it.
Yeah, and he mentioned in an interview that doing a TV series is harder than doing a movie, right? Especially being the main guy, right? The regular of the show. Because he says
Hmm.
typically when you do a movie, right? I mean, it's just a few months. Maybe there's some breaks in between. There's different characters doing their parts. But I mean, he's the guy. He's literally in every single scene. So he said,
Hmm.
doing a show like this is like harder than doing a Rambo movie, which I was like, wow, that's really crazy to hear.
Yeah, especially it's not as physical, but I guess it's using more mental. It's stressful, I guess, on the mind the way he has to deliver some of these scenes, and yeah, I guess there is a point to be taken there for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for season two. I believe they're going to go into production, I believe, in March or April if they haven't
Hmm.
started already. So hopefully we can maybe see you join the cast next
Oh,
season.
hey man, that'd be great.
Because
I might.
they're
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say, again, they're not too far, from the border. If there's a
Yeah.
specific cartel role, or maybe there's a different type of role if you're already in that area. I mean, I'm sure there'd be something kind of unique for you to do.
Top bad guy, good guy, gray guy,
FBI,
whatever.
FBI
FBI,
agent.
and that is coming up for some of my upcoming shows that'll be on, and some that I'm on the books for being greenlit. There's a lot of exciting things. This year's gonna be big, man. I can't wait.
I want to jump into your upcoming projects, but you
Sure.
mentioned Cobra Kai just a second ago, and we
Hmm.
can't not mention Cobra Kai, especially having you on, with the epic conclusion of season 5. What did
Oh
you
yeah.
think? First of all, what was your sort of feelings with the epic fight between Terry Silver, um, the finale that we
Chosen.
had there with Ralph and Chosen also that
I
fight
love
that they
it.
had?
I
What
love it.
was your reaction to the finale episode?
I love that they don't rush it. They really allow it to kind of have its own life, and they didn't just because a lot of times they do that in finales, right? They rush right through it, and then the fans are like, "Oh gosh," and then it kind of sets you up. half-hearted for the next season, but they did it very well. The big three again knocked it out of the park. They keep raising the bar, and they're keeping it true to the original canon. They're keeping these characters in there, and it's fun to see what's around the corner. The fans are looking for maybe the Julie character to come back or whatever, and you just never know with the big three. But they have not disappointed the fans. I mean, every time it hits Netflix, it's #1 in the world. So
Yeah.
lightning in the bottle, season 5 and beyond. I mean, they're doing it. They're killing it.
What did you think of the epic return of our friend Sean Kanan,
Oh,
aka
Sean,
Mike
man.
Barnes, making his way back?
Sean, that's way overdue, and so I'm so happy he made it back in there again. Some of us knew, but it's nice to when it finally came. I was like, yes. Now you see why. I mean, it was definitely the juice was worth the squeeze. Sean is a phenomenal actor, a great martial artist, and this show now. I mean, really, it's opened up other plot lines, if you will. I'm sure. I would safely say that's probably not the last you're going to see of him.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I recently saw Ralph Macchio in Santa Cruz. When he was doing his tour for his new book, which we
Hmm.
have. You can kind of see it right there,
Hmm.
right there.
Yep.
So
Autograph. You got
basically,
your autograph copy. Good for you. I
oh
saw
yeah,
that.
oh yeah, and I got to meet him, in person. Talk to him. I was like,
Yeah.
hey, we got to get you on the podcast. But he was just, doing so much press at the time. I kind of
Yeah.
have it on like a wishful hope. Maybe we could sneak him on one day. But the number one question that people kept asking, are we going to get a new season of Cobra Kai? Are we going to see a season 6? And he said that obviously, nothing has been announced yet, but he would be really surprised if we didn't get at least a season 6, right? Even if it's the finale season. And also with the works of there was a new Karate Kid movie that was announced too.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely. I mean, we're going to get some exciting activity in this universe, and we'll probably hear it soon.
I would hope so. I mean, the young kids are starting to grow beards, so
I know.
they got to pull the trigger on it, and I'd say, yeah, I'd say it's safe to say that they are going to make at least another season, at least one more, because Cholo Maliduena, he has was it a Blue Beetle coming out?
The Blue Beetle,
So
yeah.
yeah, so there's a lot of different these actors are just killing it out there in Hollywood, and again, Cobra Kai helped many of us. I guess proceed forward in this industry, and we're very grateful for it. Especially here in Atlanta, we're like a family of the actors here, and we're very fortunate to be on these shows that are just blockbuster hit shows.
And Rick, every time we talk, there's some momentum, kicking away, and you've been getting some exciting projects after exciting projects.
Yes,
I know you probably, and maybe you are able to share some of your upcoming works, but is there anything
sure,
else that you could share as far as, what's in the works where we could see you in
of
this
course.
coming year? Anything that you could share with the
Mhm.
fans?
Yeah, so we just so many things. Again, it was very busy last year. Now everything's coming out now. So you saw Ozark last year, Christmas Prayer for Christmas with Chad Coleman from Tyrese from The Walking Dead. We had a great time. He's a great friend, great actors on that movie. We had so much fun and had a great message for the holidays. So it was fantastic. If you haven't seen it, it was on TV One. If you have on demand, you may be able to see it. I don't know if it's transferred yet into Prime Video. I'm not sure, but look out for that. And obviously, January 6th, we had BMF. Again, that's done in every Friday, so you won't see me just yet, but when you do, you'll know. And then one that just aired, I was on The Game season 2, but sorry, season 2 that just aired. I was on episode 5. I played a SWAT commander in one of the scenes that I think there's some stills on IMDb, but they just aired. Coming up, so
Amazing.
BMF, and then we have obviously February 23rd. We have Outer Banks, the next
Yep.
season, and I can't talk too much about my character there, but that was another one of those last minute blessings that came through. So I played Ted, and you'll see Ted coming very very soon on that. And then there's
Amazing.
another movie coming out. I co-starred with Brian Tyree Henry. It's called The Class of '09. It's a mini series airing on FX sometime this year. That's gonna be really, really good. You're gonna like that one.
Awesome. And every time we see the stills from the various streaming platforms, or we love
Yeah.
sharing anything we see Rick Perez in, and obviously
Thank you.
the channel's a huge fan of your work, and Always
Yeah.
like to, hear the upcoming projects so we could steal
Thank
you
you so
back
much.
on to this
Yeah.
show. So I'm really
So many
excited. Yeah, I
stories.
mean,
I can't wait till they air so we can talk about them because again, like Outer Banks, big series, and
yeah,
the way these characters, are evolving and the new plot points, and then our characters involved with them, that's going to be a great series as well this year. Season 3 is going to be great, and then I have a couple things in the works. We were greenlit for some movies coming up soon that I can't really get into too much, but I'm on the docket for. One of the main villains in an upcoming movie. So we'll see how that plays out. Maybe you have me on again. We'll talk about it.
I
We'll
love
see.
it. I love
Yeah.
it. No, definitely more to come. And I'm going to
Yeah.
take you up on guest hosting on one of our future
Yes.
shows as well.
I love it. Thank you.
Make it one that's a mutual fan for both of us as well too. So I'm really
Always.
excited, Rick.
Thanks.
Again,
I
thank you
appreciate it.
for making the time to join, and
My
we'll be
pleasure.
sure to stay in touch. And wishing you for an even bigger, larger, exciting 2023, Rick.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all the fans. MovieJunk.com. You guys never disappoint. Zia, thank you for all your content. Thank you for sharing
Thank
with
you,
the
brother.
fans. And again, we're to keep bringing it. 2023. It's going to be a great year.
Awesome. Thank you, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.